Okay, 1 second, folks. We're having some technical difficulties on the Facebook end of things. So if you're watching on YouTube, hang on for just a second. I'm going to be right back. I still do not know what is going on, so please just hold on. Facebook is really messing me up. We all hate Facebook sometimes, don't we? I sure do right now. Same issue, folks. Doing my best here. I do not know what is going on. I'm going to play something else for you while you're waiting so that you're not bored. Those of you that are actually watching on YouTube, here's a treat for you. Here's the table read. I'll let you check that out while we're the table read that we debuted on Monday. Here it is again for you. Enjoy while I try to figure out these tech issues. It is super annoying right now. So hold on. Here we go. Okay, here we are with Nicole and Greg. Nicole and Greg are two actors here in Fresno, friends of mine, and they have agreed to read part of the script of The Shift that you have never heard before. And very, very grateful to them for coming. Nicole will be playing the part of Molly tonight. And of course, Nicole is a very accomplished actress. Hi, I'm Brock Heasley, the writer and director of The Shift. One of the reasons I made The Shift was out of frustration with all the depictions in fiction of a person facing off against the devil. I'd never seen a character handle that in the way that I would as a Christian, which is simply to pray. Quiet faith in the face of great darkness and temptation. But why make a Christian film that's got so much darkness in the first place, right? How does that track? I think it's in the dark times that the love of God shines brightest. When you think back on the times of your life when God was most evident, I'll bet it was in the middle of some difficult event or trial. For me, I think about the death of my father. I think about that time when my wife and I both lost our jobs within 24 hours of each other and we wondered what in the world are we going to do. And I think about our daughter who was born with special needs. A blessing for sure, but also a great trial for which we were totally unequipped. To be honest, we felt like God had given us something we couldn't handle. Even as good people of faith, we pass through dark times. Without those trials, my faith would be less. My knowledge and understanding of God would be less. The shift is not about darkness. It's about shining a light on God's love. And light, as we all know, cuts through the darkness. If you feel like this is an important message to share, partner with us. Back this project so we can finish this story. We've already got Dallas Jenkins, the creator of The Chosen, on board with us as executive producer. But we need you too. No one likes being asked for money, but we can't make the movie without it. We have until September 30th. September 30th, that's not a lot of time. I hope you'll join us. You can back the project at the link, studios.vidangel.com/theshift. I'm excited to share this journey with you. All right, so that was a little bit of a tortured beginning we had to this stream. We thank you for your patience. We thank you for joining us. It seems like it wouldn't really be a shift stream without some kind of technical difficulty. So thank you. Thankfully, we were able to make it through that and push on. But welcome tonight. This is our live stream number 11. I can't believe we've done 11 of these things, and that's not even counting the surprise watch parties we do during the day sometimes. Maybe we should do one of those during the night. If you ever would like to see a watch party, a surprise watch party during the night, please let us know in the comments. I have no idea if anybody even stays up as late as I do. I tend to be up till about 2 a.m., which is not great, but it's what I do. We have a really exciting night for you tonight. We are going to be talking with Orlando J. Gomez, the producer of The Shift, and also director of photography, Kyle Gentz. Both Orlando and Kyle worked with me on the short film, and they are going to be joining us on the feature film as well. And tonight we're going to hear from them and hear about their perspective on filmmaking, on Christian filmmaking, the things that influence them and the challenges that we have ahead for us as we make this film and do this film in the sphere that we're doing it in, which is very much outside of the Hollywood system, which is why we're looking for investment right now, and we're looking to you and hoping that you will come and partner with us. This is going to be a cool night. This is going to be kind of a talking shop kind of night. So if you're like me and you're kind of a process junkie and you like to hear, people talk about their profession and what they do that they're good at, this is the night for you. And I think we're going to gain some real insight into what we can expect and what we have ahead of us for the feature film. Hopefully I can drop some tidbits here and there. And of course, we are also open to your comments. We're excited to see you. I see Denise is here. Margie giving us 3 claps. Deborah from Wynn, Arkansas. Welcome, Deborah. Let's see, who else? Denise. We already have a question from Denise. Denise asks us, when does it come out? I'm assuming she's talking about the feature film. And I'll tell you what, Denise, that would be a lot easier to question to answer if I was sitting on the budget for the film to actually make it. We cannot start making the film until we achieve our budget. And so until we start making the film, it's hard to say when it's going to come out. But films typically have a development period of, 1 to 2 years. Hopefully not that long for us. But, it really depends on when we get that budget. And so we're really hoping to get that budget as soon as we can. Suzanne has given us a wave. Hello, Suzanne. Donna from North Carolina. Donna, hello. Good to see you. Tim, hello. Lisa. Kara. Orlando's joined the chat. He'll be joining us. He's in the waiting room right now watching me blather on, and he's in the chat too. So Cheryl says, peace and goodness from Arizona. Good to see you, Cheryl, and you too, Teresa. I see that you are here. Kyle also is in the chat. We'll be talking with him, and he's right there talking to you, so you can feel free to let him know that you're there. We are also going to be debuting. Well, not really debuting. Okay, so what happened is there's this video that we asked. That we basically went out to fans and we just said, hey, look, would you be willing to just take your phone and just record yourself, just talking for a little bit about why the shift is important to you, what it means to you. And we had a number of fans who responded to that request, and they sent us their 1-minute videos. And then yesterday and last night, basically my whole day yesterday, I was editing this video, taking all of these incredible testimonials that people have given us and putting them into a really cool little social media video that we can share with everybody else to let them know what other people think of the shift and why it's important to them. And that video turned out so well that I immediately went to our marketing guys and I was like, guys, we got to get this video out there as an ad. People need to see it. And so we debuted it early, even though we meant to debut it tonight. We just wanted to get it out there quicker to people. So it's a video I'm really excited about, and if you haven't seen it yet, we're going to be showing it to you tonight after our discussion. However, it is available on our Facebook page right now, so if you're like, I hate this beginning part when Brock just talks to us, go over there and check out the video and share it, please. We are trying to get that video out far and wide. We feel like it really speaks to the importance of the shift, and we think it'll have an impact on people that see it who maybe are kind of wondering or not so sure about the shift. This kind of speaks to people in a totally different way than other things that we've been able to put out there. So please, if you'd like the video, if you think it's good, please share it and comment on it. Facebook, we've talked about this. Facebook loves longer comments. 2 or 3 sentences, it makes a difference. So if you see that video, please comment on it. Let Facebook know that it's important to you. Margaret, hello from Cypress, Texas. I don't know that. I think she said finally. So maybe it's late tonight, or maybe Margaret's never joined us before. But Margaret, hello. I recognize you, of course, from comments and things. And Lisa says hello from the DC prayer march where she's handing out flyers. Wow, Lisa, that is awesome that you would patch in all the way from DC during the prayer march. That's fantastic. Thank you. We're so glad you're here with us. Roxy says, Brock, the video editing meister, I think she meant master. I try. I'm moving so quickly these days, I don't even know if any edits or videos I'm putting out are any good anymore. But last night I felt good, probably because it was mostly not me talking at all. So that's definitely going to help with a better video. I'm told to stop being so self-deprecating. It's really hard for me. I'm working on it. So yeah, just as a reminder tonight, go ahead and ask me anything. This is our chance to talk to you. I have a moderator who's helping me to see any comments that I may miss. So please, I invite whatever you would like to say. Even if you have concerns or questions about the investment, whatever is on your mind, we're willing to help answer that. We do have a big thing to celebrate, which is that we recently hit $110,000 in investments. We're actually over that right now, but we did hit 110, and that's an incredible number. In fact, let's go over and see real quick, what are we at right now? We are at $112,933 with 320 investors. That is pretty incredible. That's an amazing number, and that's not something that we don't appreciate. We appreciate every single one of our investors. We prefer to call them partners, and we're so grateful to you for the faith and the support that you have given this project so far. We do have 5, actually that number's wrong. We got to get that number fixed. We have 6 days left until we close this offering, and we do not know if investment's going to be available beyond that. We are planning on closing on the 30th. We do not have a lot of time, and we have a big gap. But we also know that at the very end, that's when people come in, and that's when people get excited. And so we're hoping to see some good things happen with the investment in these last few days. And I'm going to talk more a little bit later about the exciting things that we have planned for next week. We have some really, really cool stuff planned for next week. And so I'm going to talk about that later. So what we're trying to do right now, obviously, is we're trying to get enough of money so that we can make this short film that probably most of you have seen into a full-length feature film. We have seen a huge pickup this week. We are still hoping that by the end of this week, we can reach 200K. That may require a big investor coming in and really making a giant contribution. Or maybe it's a bunch of little contributions. I don't know. But that is our goal, and we feel like if we can get to 200K by the end of this week, then, $1 million by the end of Wednesday, that's not so far out of the question. I don't believe that's out of the question until the bell rings and we say it's done. I feel like anything is possible because I feel very strongly that this film is something that I've been led to do. And I know that many of you feel the same way. And when you follow the path that you're led to be on, that's when good things usually happen. Now, when they happen, that's not up to me. But I do believe that it can happen. I do believe that it will happen. And I pray that it can happen this week. Goodness knows I'm tired and I just want to make the movie. Now look, like I said, a big investment coming in at this time would mean so much. It would be a huge kick in the pants, and I think it would really wake people up to the excitement behind this film. But let's not deter that. Let's not let that deter us or any of you from putting in whatever investment you can. The fact is that we would love your help. We would love your help, and even if you're only able to invest the $100 minimum, if a few hundred people did that, we would very quickly reach our goal. So $100, $200, a lot of people think that's not a very impactful amount, but that's not true. These small investments can add up very, very quickly. And the fact of the matter is that as everybody who's been liking our posts and commented on our posts, we're just putting in $100, we'd be there by now. Like it'd be a no-brainer. So if that's you, if you're thinking, I don't think my $100, my $200 is going to do much, I challenge that thinking. I challenge that thinking very strongly. And of course, if you want to know more about the investment, how it works, what the return is going to be, I'm happy to answer those questions. But for now, I'll just say, please go to studios.vidangel.com/theshift. The moderator is going to put that in the comments if he hasn't already. And there you can discover all of the information that you would want to know, see our team, see all kinds of things. Lots of cool stuff on that page. And that's studios.vidangel.com/theshift. And of course, if you can't invest at all, if you're like, man, I don't even have $100, let me tell you, I've been there. I know exactly where you are right now. And the fact is that there's still things that you can do. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can share the Shift, posts and links with your friends. You can like us on Facebook, like the page. You can comment. Comments are such a huge deal for us. And most importantly, share this live stream right now. Sharing this live stream gets everything we're doing right now out to even more people. And when they see that you're watching, then they're going to watch. So we pray that you will share. Let's get out there. Let's get as many people tonight watching as we can, and let's try to make an impact. We do have a goal tonight. The goal that we're aiming for tonight is an additional $2,000. So take where we are, add $2,000 to that. That is our goal for tonight. Can we hit that? Depends on you. I'm gonna be here, and I'm gonna hope we're gonna see it. And if we do see any investments come in, of course, we would love to shout you out. If you prefer that we do not, please message us privately on our Facebook page and let us know, and we will not do that. But most people tend to like the shout out. It's just first names and locations, that's all. And so please feel free. And just to run it down, we have had some investments in the last 24 hours I'd love to tell you about, and to give thanks if they're watching. Bethany in Colorado just partnered with us for, and get this number, $1,888, which is not a number we've seen before. It's an awesome number. Thank you, Bethany in Colorado. We appreciate it so much. Todd in New Hampshire partnered with us for $100. Thank you, Todd. Patricia in New Jersey also with $100. Thank you, Patricia. Jason in New Mexico partnered with us for $100. Thank you, Jason. Cherry in Missouri partners with us $500. Thank you, Cherry. And Kevin in California partnered with us also for $500. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin, love the name. Jennifer in Texas partnered with us for $500 as well, and Lisa in Pennsylvania for $1,000. We've seen some great investments come in over the past 24 hours, and we so appreciate it. It's really making a difference. When people see that momentum, they don't want to be left behind. And we hope that you are getting a sense of that this is a train that is moving. It's moving very, very quickly. And if it's something that you want to do and you be a part of, now is the time. Okay. All right. Are there any questions that I have missed before we bring in our special guests? Lisa asks, are you using all new actors? So for the feature film, yes, we are planning on using all new actors. And the reason for that is because we want to make a marketable film. And a marketable film usually includes actors whose faces and names you may recognize. And that's really important for investors. It's really important for distributors. It's just something that helps very much to the film to get the attention that it needs. Not that we don't love our actors, we certainly do. But we are going to be looking at recasting. Teresa says, I may invest myself just to be your jingle girl. We do need a jingle for our website. Time is coming to a close here. But if anybody, as I put out that challenge during our last live stream, if anybody wants to go ahead and perform a jingle for us, send me that video. I will gladly put it on. I am not going to sing, however. I'm not going to do that all to you. Margaret is asking, where is Erin? Erin is my wife and sometimes co-host. She usually is sitting right here next to me, and she's not here. And you were right to be disappointed, Margaret. I am disappointed when Erin cannot be with me. But we do have children, and sometimes their needs take precedent. So Erin is not with us tonight. I would love for her to pop in. You never know when she will. Maybe she's listening right now. Probably not, because I told everybody to stay off of streaming while I'm doing this. I need the bandwidth. But I would love to have Erin back, and I'm sure we can expect to see her next week. I would anticipate that. I don't think she's going to miss out on our final week festivities. Okay, I think that's all the questions we've got. So we're ready to bring in our special guests. Joining me now. Hopefully they're ready. Guys, are you ready? Before I flash you up, everybody's got...
Yeah, we're ready. We're good.
Everybody's in position? Okay, here we go. Joining us now are Orlando J. Gomez, sorry. And you're not your father. And,
no, or my grandfather.
Or your grandfather. There you go. Orlando is a 3. He's a third.
I'm a 3.
Yeah, it's pretty pretentious, dude, but that's cool. And of course, Orlando is our producer, and also joining us is Kyle Gentz, aka the camera guy, as it says there in his thing. Our director of photography. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, doing well. Excited to be back.
Yeah, excited to be back in this weird era of time that we all live in, which is
right?
I call it the COVID era, but
it is definitely the COVID era.
Yeah, it consists of a lot of Zoom calls.
Yeah. I think I've seen both of you guys in person maybe once or twice, and it was basically just to hand something off, and then that was it. And that's been since March now. And I mean, look, we're not special; it's what everybody's doing, but this constant videoing we're doing is I mean, it's great for this. It's the only way to do this, but
I wish it could do it better. But yeah, it's
probably yeah. We could get into a room and have some fancy camera work. We were talking about that earlier. That'd be really cool to do. But so Kyle, you're new to us. We haven't had a chance to see you, even though some of you may be thinking, Orlando, wait a minute, I don't recognize that guy. That's because it's the hair. He's got the full hair going on now.
I let my hair down today.
I have the hat thing. I don't not wear a hat. So
yeah,
if I don't wear a hat, people don't recognize me.
Yeah, I have the no hair thing. So I just
Yeah, so I'm just making up for the both of you guys here. That's what this is.
Right. It's really you're rubbing it in my face at this point, Orlando. It's not kind.
Yeah.
Well, when I'm done with it, I'll donate it to you. I'll have it cut off and I'll donate it to you.
There you go. That'll look great on me. No, I think what you're actually doing is I think you're doing a stealth audition to be on the Chosen. You look like you fit right into that world.
Oh yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully somebody's out there watching.
Yeah, right.
Maybe
we'll get some eyes on you. We'll get some.
My self tape. It's my self tape.
It's your self tape. No, you'd be really good. I've seen you act. You're very good. You don't do it a lot, but you're good at it.
I don't do it a lot.
So Kyle, you are new to us, though. I mean, not new to me, but you're new to our audience. They've only seen you on the pitch video at the end of the short, and that's about it. So tell us just a little bit about yourself, and what's your background and how'd you come to us tonight?
Well, I guess I got started back in the day at Fresno Christian. I went to a private Christian school that had a video program, which was kind of rare back then. I kind of wanted to get into it, and I started it. And my dad bought me a little Hi8 camera on eBay back when eBay was like groundbreaking, because he thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I started playing with digital video with a little Sony Handycam, basically. And then I don't know, everyone said I was really good at it, and so I kept with it, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's obviously a lot more steps between that and where I am now. But yeah, I mean that's kind of where I got started was school. So
Well, it's worked out. It's worked out pretty well for you.
yeah.
I know you. How did you come into the shift? Let's talk about that just for a second.
Well, so
I mean,
I
what do you
started
remember?
working
It was a
for
long time ago.
yeah. So I was working with a couple of the guys at Tremendum Pictures back then. Still working with them today, um, and they were like, "Hey, you got to meet Brock." And I was like, "Brock? That's an interesting name. Okay, I'll meet Brock."
It's not that
And
interesting.
I don't know. I mean, other than Pokemon, that's the first time I heard that name.
That's true.
So
That's fair. My mom
yeah.
actually got it off of a soap opera character, but that's a story for another day.
Oh wow.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a story. We'll have to revisit that one.
real claim to fame.
Uh, yeah. So we met and we sat down and we found out we were both real big Joss Whedon fans.
Oh, that's
Um,
right. I remember.
remember that we talked about a
Yeah,
lot of
night we
Buffy and
met.
Angel, and then we had a debate whether Angel was better, or Buffy was better, and which one we liked better. And
It's definitely
uh,
Angel.
I at the time I was saying Buffy, but I since then had rewatched both series because I got like super sick, not COVID, got like
Oh, that's good.
years ago.
Right.
I got super sick and I like just binge watched both shows. Like I binge watched Buffy and then I binge watched Angel, and so it's just funny going back watching those WB shows now, or was it CW or WB, whatever
It's
they
probably
were.
Yeah.
CW at the time. Yeah.
It was WB
It
back
was
then. Though.
WB back then.
Yeah.
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 And watching those shows and just like laughing at how like cheesy and funny and just how they are. And now look at Joss Whedon now. He's doing the Avengers. So
I
it's
know.
like
Well, the
Mhm.
writing still holds up.
everyone starts somewhere.
Yep. Yep. Well, those were great shows. Those were classics. They were really influential for me, especially on the writing side. I just think he's just a phenomenal writer.
He is. So, anyways, we met at a dinner. It was like for a project we were working on,
Mhm.
and then yeah, I remember you. I think you reached out to me. I'm trying to remember what happened, and you were like, "Hey, I want to shoot something, and we have no money.
Yeah.
Would you be interested?" And I was like, at the time, I was like trying to do anything creative I could because I was kind of doing a lot more corporate video work at the time. And so anything creative was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah.
The thing that you forget when you're doing a free project is you have zero help or the help
Right.
that you have is all volunteers. And usually those are people who are wanting to get into the industry and don't know anything.
Mhm.
So that's kind of my biggest memory on the shift was I remember we kind of sat down, we talked about it, we planned everything out, and day one, I had no help. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I had people who were excited and really wanted to do something, but if you don't know film or you don't know when someone says roll sound, roll camera to be quiet,
Right.
that you're instantly a problem on set. And so I remember we were running into a lot of those kinds of like first time, and we had a lot of enthusiastic help. I remember we did, and that was awesome. But also at the same time, you're like, okay, you can't talk now. This is when the actors speak the words, and we don't want your words in the audio track. So I remember that being a fun struggle on this project. Yeah. And I remember like for me as an artist on this project, I was like trying to make this as visually appealing as possible. I mean, that was one of the big challenges. I remember I felt so lucky that the alleyway scenes came out so good, and it was such a. I'm just going on. I don't know if you want me to keep going. I can keep going.
No. This is interesting. This is fast because it's a different perspective. It's a perspective we haven't heard before.
Right. And so I remember going into the alleyway scene, and it was a decent amount of work, and we were running and gunning and moving, and I remember shooting the last shot of that scene, and the sun was like barely out, and all the lights in the city had just kicked on. And there's this final shot, which is actually sitting right behind you. And it's my favorite shot of the whole film. And we're wrapping around Greg as he's looking around and he's realizing he's in this different world. That's exactly the same world that he came from in a weird way. Like this weird off-brand clone, I like to call it, I guess.
Yeah.
And just seeing the reflection in the not his sunglasses, his glasses, and just, it's such a powerful shot to me because it's communicating. And I don't give myself any credit for this shot whatsoever. Like I give the Lord the credit for this because it came out so well, and it speaks so well to that moment for me visually, because you can see what he's looking at. You know what I mean? You can tell, and you're able to read his reaction on his face, which he delivered so well, and it came together. It was one of those things where that was not pre-planned whatsoever. For me, that was not pre-planned whatsoever.
No, not at all.
And it just came out, and you're like, and now it's like one of the poster images you use for the ship. So it's that's a fun thing. I mean, and that was a really crazy, fast-moving day.
Yeah, and I remember that specific shot. It was really frantic in that last couple moments.
Yeah. We didn't think we were gonna get it.
And then with that whip, like all the crew has to stay behind the camera operator. They stay behind you. So as you're circling around, like everybody's running behind.
That's right.
Yeah, there's like 7 people behind camera. Like,
if you know how lines work and physics, the farther away you are, the faster you have to run to stay behind.
Well, and if you remember, we had an audience at that point. Like all day, we had basically we were left alone. We were in downtown Fresno, but nobody was bothering us. And then as the sun was coming down, we had all these people that just showed up. People for whom we were kind of treading on their home essentially. And so they all wanted to talk, and we had to like coax them all to go hide in the parking garage, and some of them were cooperative and some of them weren't, and it was a real nail biter. We genuinely did not know if we were going to get that shot, and the fact that it turned out the way it did is incredible.
I remember the whole time like going to you, Brock, I don't think we're gonna make it. We're gonna have to come back. We're not gonna make it. We're gonna have to come back. And like we didn't come back. We were done. We got it. Like and luckily we shot the whole thing in order, which if anyone is new to film at all, you don't usually do that.
Right.
Well, we shot in order because I think the only thing we shot out of order was the crash. I don't remember how we shot that. Anyway.
Yeah, we did shoot that a little bit out of order just because.
Yeah, but other than
that,
right? Other than that, and it was a green screen and some other things.
Yeah.
But other than that, we shot in order, and so the sun going down sequentially worked out. It worked out, and we didn't do big lighting setups, so we didn't have a ton of things to when we had to flip the world. It was just move all the bodies. It wasn't move all the gear and the equipment.
Right.
And so, I mean, that was due to lack of hands who knew how to move a C-stand or a sandbag.
Trained hands.
Trained hands. We had enthusiastic hands. We didn't have trained hands.
And the crazy thing is that was the first time you worked with Cody Fletcher, who of course is also going to be working with us on the feature film. And he has now, since from that day, that was the beginning of his second career. I mean, he now that's all he does. I taught Cody how to operate a C-stand that day, and I remember that moment of like he grabs the C-stand, he's like, cool, what do I do with this? And I'm like, I just remember, oh man, it's gonna be a long day. And
what did I sign up for?
Now we're like best friends, and he is a 10 times better grip than me, which I mean he's done way cooler stuff now in the grip side.
Master grip.
Dude, he is the best in town, really. I mean, that's not. I mean, hands down, best grip in town by far. Like he gets pulled into the Bay Area. He gets pulled into LA constantly because people want him specifically. So
I don't doubt it.
It's I just feel blessed because the curse of Fresno is once you get really good, you move. Because like people want you, and so LA and the Bay Area and Sacramento has more money. So luckily he's been able to kind of stay central and bounce around, and I'm glad he's going to be a part of this project. I tell him constantly when I get pulled on projects, I'm like, dude, if you're not involved, I don't want to do it. Like I'm like, this is way too complicated of a setup to do without you. So that was really great. Now we're like best friends, and we do stuff all the time together, and he's cool.
Cody's also one of my best friends. He's a good guy, and it is nice that he hasn't moved away. It's nice that we're all still here too. You know, I feel like we're all pretty good at what we do, and yet here we are still in Fresno. And in fact, of course, this film is going to be made in Fresno. You know, which I'm excited about. Orlando, what do you? I mean, I know you've lived in Fresno all your life. I know you have a passion for doing film here and keeping it here. Thank you. We just had a question. I'm going to come back to that in a second. We just had a question of, well, could we ever see a shift cap? And the fact of the matter is that a shift cap already exists.
Yes.
This is my shift cap. It's a little beat up, so I don't usually wear it on the streams, but I'll wear it for the rest of the stream. It would be cool to make more of these.
You gotta get a flat bill one.
It exists.
I'll wear
Yeah.
Oh, flat bill.
Okay.
I can't handle that.
The flat bill is a function for a DP, because like I put my monitor right here. The sun gets in your eyes. You put it right here.
Oh,
you get your monitor.
I can see that.
When it's curved, it just lets too much light in. Can't do
It's
it.
its own personal courtesy.
Well, if we want
It is my own personal courtesy.
if we want the coveted DP market, we'll know we have to go flat bill.
Some
Or if you
guys
just
think
wanna
I'm
be kinda
crazy,
cool, right?
but I like it. So maybe just give me a custom one. It'll be fine.
There you go. But there is a shift cap, and perhaps we'll have the occasion to make more of them if that's something that people are interested in. I'd definitely love to know that. I'm not opposed to making them and selling them and see what we can do. I know people are asking for Kevin will have a coffee shirt too. I think by the end of this, we're going to have a whole line of apparel that we could possibly launch if we want to.
All meme apparel.
Yeah, but getting back to the question here that I wanted to ask you, Orlando, is what's the advantage? I mean, do you feel of like doing a film like this in a place like Fresno that most people just leave, as Kyle says?
Yeah, there's pros and cons. I think that the biggest advantage that we have in Fresno is it's a lot more lax. I think pulling permits takes about 48 hours, and they're just like, okay, cool. Here, we'll contact the police for you, and everyone's cool, everything's fine. No fees. Most businesses are really cool about it. People see a film being done. It's so uncommon. I think people kind of get, a little enamored with it, and nobody really has an issue with it. You go to LA, and that's not possible. Like it's heavily regulated. It's incredibly expensive, and people are irritated at every person with a camera because everyone knows 90% of these people making something are nobody. So stop hogging up the streets and stop making trouble. We don't have that here. So there's a lot more access. It's a lot more affordable. It's a lot more supported. So I think that's definitely the perk, or some of the perks of doing something in a small town. Even though we're not a small town, but we kind of function like a small town.
We think we are. We're not though. There's a half a million people.
Yeah, we're
living
a huge
here.
city. We're a huge city, but I mean, if you live in Fresno, you know what I'm talking about. That sense of that small town feel. The community always, for whatever reason, always feels really small, and everybody knows everybody for some reason, and somehow, but it's 500,000 people in this city, but yet you feel like a small town.
Yeah.
In the film industry, it's pretty small. There's only so many working professionals.
Well, no, that's
Everyone
true.
knows
I mean,
everybody.
For sure, on the film side, we are very few, and we all essentially know each other. Or I'm like 1 degree of separated from anybody I don't know. But in terms of the actual city, it's pretty big.
And it's just the worst whenever there's two like good-sized projects happening on the same day. It sucks.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't get your people.
You got to start bartering with the other producers and directors. Like, okay, you can have Kyle, but I got to have this person.
You can't have Cody and Kyle.
You can't have Cody. Like, if you're taking both of them, then you got to give me 4 people. Okay,
right.
I mean, let's give and take here, guys. I mean, no joke. It's literally that tight knit. That's really how it is.
Yeah.
It's like I've literally gotten on projects where we need like big projects, and it's like, all right, we go through the list of people, and they're like, all right, we need like 3 more people, and we're like, well, who do we go? I guess we're pulling out of LA. Because like the talent pool is small, and I know there's a lot of people who are like wanting to get into it and learning, and that's great, but like when you got a big project, like you need people who know what they're doing.
You're saying, the trained hands.
You need really trained hands.
Yeah, it's the difference between the enthusiastic person who's learning, which is great. That's where we all start. But there's a point where you have to kind of cross over and you have to have the skilled labor.
You don't get to jump on the big projects immediately. I mean, for me, I've been doing this since high school. So, I mean, 15, if you count me graduating high school, it's like 15 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, but at this point, you've worked on a number of feature films.
Yeah. I mean, and I started my freshman year in high school, so I've been doing this for almost 20 years at that point. So I guess if you think of it that way.
So fun fact real quick. My first paid production job was at a church, and I took Kyle's job after he left.
Oh, you're kidding.
I got fired.
Yeah.
I got fired.
What?
Okay, well, you threw it out there. I was just going to say you left.
I think it's funny that I got fired.
How'd you get fired?
Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. That's a church politics.
You don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer
politics.
that. Wait a minute. There are politics in church?
At church?
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny. I won't get into the details because that's not a fun story, but actually getting fired was that's the only job I've ever been fired from. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me, actually. So I remember I was devastated because I was like 17, I think. And I was 17, and it was like my world ended. Like, it just blew my mind. And then I went on to do a whole bunch of other stuff, and the rest is history. So it's funny though that I still work with Josiah Thiessen, who is another guy. We worked out of that church. Came out. We'll keep the church nameless for now, so we don't slander anybody specifically.
That's fair.
Yeah, because his younger brother is who actually took over for you immediately when you left.
No, I think Josiah took over for a little bit, and then Caleb, who is now he's a union editor down in LA. He was my best man in my wedding, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So real quick, guys, we got the people demand that we do not have a flat bill hat. Do not. Kyler says the Pharisees would wear flat bills.
Should I go get my flat bill? Do we need to have any other flat bill solidarity right now?
I think we need to listen to the people on this.
It's function over form, guys. Function. It's a function thing.
Well, what's the function now?
It's function and style.
You're not trying to look at your camera right now.
I'm going to say there's a little bit of style to it too.
I mean,
swag.
It's not all right. I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Kyler says when you got fired, it's basically what happened is your job got shifted. That's what Kyler is telling us.
It did.
Yes.
Yeah. I had a weird journey after that, but I'm glad I'm where I'm at now. So,
what would you say is the toughest thing about being a filmmaker? I mean, you guys have both been doing this for so long. You guys have both been doing this 3 or 4 times longer than I have. Based on your vast experience, what would you say is the hardest thing?
Paying your bills?
I was gonna say the money, the money or the lack.
Wait a minute. I thought everybody who worked in movies was super rich, right? Isn't that how that works?
How the 1% works? Same way.
Hollywood.
Don't I know it? No, that's true. It's not easy.
You don't do this job for the money. You do this because you love it. Because if you do it for the money, you don't last. I mean, and that's why usually the people who make a lot of money are really good because they stuck with it for so long.
Right.
And I mean, that's really what I mean, people go, "Oh, this is a lot of fun. Let's make a movie," and then you realize how much work it is, and you're like, "I don't want to do this anymore." And they're like, "Oh, you want me to work for minimum wage on a 12-hour day?" Yep. And
Well, I've noticed that anybody who's making a film who's just looking to have fun, their films, without exception, are terrible. They are extremely terrible because they don't do anything that isn't fun, and it's the not fun parts of this job that actually make it good.
Yeah, and I think for me that is probably the hardest part. I mean, obviously, money comes, goes, whatever. That's just life. But I think the hardest part is keeping your head in the game when it does become work, right? Because that happens, and it happens really quick. Like Kyle was talking about earlier, how the reason he got on the ship is because you start doing all this corporate stuff, and you start to kind of it's hard to explain if you're not a creative person or worked in the creative industry, but when you start getting in that, it feels like a rut. Like you're not being as expressive. You're not, there's a part of you that's being neglected. And so getting on the creative stuff is how you get that out and you feel alive again. But I think it's the hardest part is when you're in that mode is still taking it seriously, still treating it right, still doing your due diligence, still giving it your best, and remembering why you're doing it in the first place, right? Because it's awesome. I don't know how else to explain it. Like we love doing it, and it sucks more often than it's exciting, but I wouldn't trade it.
No, it's totally worth it. It's
so
absolutely worth it.
After I got fired, I started doing some wedding video stuff, and then I actually got into doing. I was struggling making money doing this, so I did two things. I got into road construction with my dad, and then also did kind of films on the side for a few years. And I would tell you that road construction, some days on road construction, and we did paving. I'm like asphalt paving, and there's days on film sets that are just as hard, if not harder. Like, I mean, I literally run around some days for 12, 14, 15 hours with a 40-pound camera on my shoulder. Yeah, like when those cinema cameras get rigged out. Yeah. And it's funny, like I hand the camera, I'm like, hey, can you give me a break for a second? I hand it to someone. They're like, oh my God, like what is going on here? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's like, wow, it's rough. Like it's rough. Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things where like, it's a lot of work and you got to have a passion. You got to love it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But it's both, right? You got to have the passion to endure, but you also have to have the skill to maintain, right? Because otherwise you end up in that position we were talking about before, which is get a lot of passionate people, but the skill lacks. And then it makes it hard. So it's both. You gotta balance.
You gotta do. I mean, you have to have enough passion. I mean, literally 10 years ago, I was watching anything and everything I could about lighting and cameras and everything. And that was back before the plethora of like YouTube online education existed.
Right.
You know, I remember reading actual paper books about lighting.
You monster.
I know. And I mean, like, I just like anything I could get my hands on and like trying to learn how to make something look like something else. You know what I mean? Which is this industry. I mean, so many times when you see a nighttime scene that's shot in broad daylight, you know what I mean? Because who wants to work through the night if they don't have to? That's dumb. Like,
funny. I was actually just watching a movie the other day, and
hold that thought for just one second. We got a little bit of an update here from our moderator. We had a couple of folks who came into the pipeline for investment and got hold on, nobody can see me just for a second here. And who got very close to bumping us up above $113,000, but they seem to have backed off. So the question is that who can come in? Who can come in? We would love to shout you out. Who can come in tonight? We have a goal of just $2,000 tonight. Who can come in and bump us up above $113,000 in investment? Is there anybody who can do that? We would love to see that. And then something Kyler says, he says something that they aren't mentioning, speaking of all of us, is the immense emotional toll of making art that nobody likes. There's a lot of that before people appreciate your craft. I think we all can identify with that with that idea.
The trick to that is once you do start making stuff that people like, you hide all the other stuff.
Yeah.
you put everything into the vault.
Yeah.
We all have a vault.
I know some very successful people who did that.
Yeah.
I won't name any names, but I know some very successful people who were like, they had one project kind of be a big hit, and then it's like, cool, we're gonna hide everything else. Like, no way, that didn't happen.
Right.
Kara says, so thankful you guys are willing to do the hard work to make the film the best it can be. Can't even imagine all the problem solving that has to happen and the tenacity required to not settle for less. That is an excellent way of putting it, Kara.
Absolutely.
So I have a comment on that, actually. I think
do it.
if you don't like problem solving, you can't be a
That's
filmmaker.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Filmmaking is problem solving, right? I
Yes.
mean,
Every 5 minutes, like if you can't handle a problem, like I mean, there's days when you're like on set and it's like someone comes up to you and you're like, there's this problem, and then you solve it, and then another problem comes up, and then you solve it, and then another problem comes up and you solve it, and then someone else comes back up and they're like, yeah, you know that solve that you just had, yeah, that
you made
doesn't
it
work
worse.
now because this other problem interferes with it.
Exactly.
And you're like, it just stacks and it stacks and it stacks, and you just have to go. We're just got to keep going. Got to keep going. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when a shoot is going too smooth and you're not running into those problems, that's when I stress.
It's
because
weird.
It's like,
this
ain't right. That means we're setting up for something big here, and we got to be ready.
And you assume that you must be doing something wrong, right? Like there's something I'm not forgetting, because if I were remembering it, it would be going wrong, and then everything would make sense.
It's true. It's so true.
Yeah. I mean, even I mean, some of the biggest stuff that I've been on budget-wise, I've done some stuff for Taylor Guitars, and I mean, and they, you know, like on a big project, they'll throw a ton of money at something, and money doesn't always solve all the problems. Problems happen regardless. Like, so like some people are like, oh, I just throw money at it. Well, I mean, that helps sometimes, and maybe it'll help a lot of the times, but like, problems help constantly. So if you can't deal with problems, it's not like a thing you could just throw money at.
Right. You know? And really, you know, problems present the opportunity for creativity. Right. And the more creative you can be to solve your problems, generally a lot of times that's where a lot of the magic happens. And when you're finished product, a lot of times like, that is awesome. You know, that's my favorite part, because we had to do X, Y, Z, and this was going wrong. And, and like that spinning shot. Right?
It's part of training, honestly. It's like, the thing is that I worked on stuff for the first 10 years of my career, I had no money on every project I ever worked on, right? Or it was very little resources, and it was always trying to figure out how to do something the best you can. You kind of learn a set of skills, so when you get into the bigger players, like you have a tool set or a tool bag to pull out of like, hey, we're in this weird situation that we need to solve this problem in 5 minits, and we don't have the 45 minutes to take. Like, what do we do? And you know, you can pull on some of those past experiences. And I'll almost make a comment of, if you get dropped into filmmaking where you have unlimited budgets early, you're not going to learn that stuff.
No.
And that's huge. Yeah.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You got to have that trial by fire.
You do. You really do.
So just as we're thinking about wrapping up here, let me ask you guys this. I mean, given all the challenges that we have, especially as indie filmmakers, I got two questions for you. And the first one is about, you know, we're doing this outside of Hollywood. You know, we don't live in Hollywood. We're not in that system. I mean, look at the way we're getting our budget right now. Like, we couldn't be further outside of Hollywood right now if we tried. What is the value of that? I mean, do you think like what are we know what the disadvantages are. Those are pretty clear. We don't have Marvel money. You know, our whole budget for our whole film is probably going to be, you know, the catering budget on a Marvel film.
Probably.
What are the advantages that we have? Do you think?
Not that high.
I think the biggest advantage, and I think is what really, I know it was your heart and was the intent from the beginning, was you get to maintain that creative integrity. When you start getting into those bigger projects and you get those studios involved, and it's hard to tell someone who's handing you $20 million no. You know, if they're saying, here's $20 million, $30 million, now do this, I mean, you can't really tell them no. So I think by doing it this way, by staying outside of that machine, you get to maintain that creative integrity and the storytelling integrity, both of which have a tendency to kind of get messed with through the Hollywood pipeline.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the big advantages is because we're going to shoot this in our hometown, and we have a lot of connections here, we can make our dollars stretch much further. I think that's huge. I mean, I've been a part of a lot of lower budget films that have gone further because of that. So, I mean, we have a lot of resources here, which is nice, but we still have the benefits of kind of a smaller town. So it's kind of like this weird happy medium. I mean, we have a great visual downtown. We've got suburbs. We've got the mountains, we have the beach that's not too far away. Right now, half of California is on fire, and we have great. If we want to shoot a apocalyptic film, we've got a whole bunch of terrible trees that are going to be all burned down here. So I mean, but all serious aside, all joking aside, or serious aside, I don't know. I'm a jokester. What can I say? We have a lot of advantages for that. Because we know the space, we know the area, we have a lot of connections, and again, Fresno's great because we're not too far from LA. So if we need to get a piece of equipment or get something, we can get it. If there's an emergency, but also everyone's not burned out from the Hollywood system locally. I mean, literally, I worked with a DP who told me about. He was shocked. They went and shot a music video, and they needed the street wetted down. And the fire department came out for free because they didn't have a fire going on at the time, and they just wet down the street for them. And this is before all the droughts and all that stuff too. So don't worry about all those issues. That was a long time ago. But yeah, I mean, like, people are excited. I mean, they're just excited that like something cool's happening and it gets to help the town. And there's a camaraderie here in Fresno that like I don't see in a lot of other towns cities our size.
Yeah, people get really excited about it. It's a big deal. It is a big deal and makes news. And I mean, that's stuff. I think the other thing that I really like about the local aspect and can do it the independent way is because we've all had to go through that trial by fire you're talking about, and we've all had many different experiences wearing many different hats on set. We can do that here on our own film, as opposed to, when you're working on a union job. That's the thing that always kills me. It's like you do the thing you were hired to do and nothing else. I remember I was on, like, I took a PA job because I was helping somebody out on a National Geographic shoot up in Yosemite. And I'm watching this grip put this massive rig of all these C-stands and all this stuff, trying to load it up into the grip truck on his own. And I'm like, hey man, here, you want me to give you a hand? And he's like, no, don't touch it. I got it. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I can help you. Like, I can push. And he's like, no, you're not union. Don't touch it. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Union stuff. I forget about that.
And that's so frustrating, especially, I don't know, my impulse is always like, if somebody needs help, I'm going to help them. It's so hard for me to understand how you'd have a situation where somebody's like, no, you cannot do that. Like, that doesn't compute for me, but I get it. It's an advantage of not working in Hollywood. Suzanne says another advantage of not working out of Hollywood is that Hollywood censors the daylight out of a good story. And there's a lot of truth to that. Hollywood likes to put things into packages that they understand. And especially with a film like this that's so outside the norm, even for faith-based films. I can't even imagine what would happen if we were to try to court a Hollywood studio to make this film. We're going to try to maybe court some of them for distribution, but not for making it, because I don't think they're going to understand it. And we wouldn't do that.
That's that creative integrity.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, actually, you know what? Actually, we'll come back to that. That's my final question. We have a question here from Kyler for all of us. He says, hey, my brother and I were really impacted by anime growing up, and it's become a big part of the stories that we want to tell. What things inspire you? So I'll go to Kyle. Actually, I'll go to Orlando first. Orlando, what inspires you? What kind of stuff do you really dig?
Oh man, so I really like action stuff. I really like sci-fi. It's part of the reason why I'm really drawn to this project, getting that sci-fi fix in there. Anything like tech, VFX heavy stuff. I'm really into that. I also really like really good, strong character building storytelling. So I can do a nice slow burn drama. But yeah, like I think like Nolan, Inception is probably like within the last decade, that's probably like the perfect way to describe like my kind of movie. Like it's action packed, it's sci-fi, they're talking gibberish and they're making stuff up, but it's very compelling. It's visually inspiring. I mean, if I make stuff like that, that'd be great.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Kyle?
I guess I don't think I got really introduced to good storytelling until I got into anime when I was younger. I was a big fan of like some like Princess Mononoke and Akira and some Cowboy Bebop. So for the anime fans in there, like those are some of mine. I don't actually watch anime anymore, which is terrible because I am a full-time dad and I don't have time for that. And I run my own business and I work, so I'm trying to provide. So I don't actually get to and my wife doesn't like anime, so I don't watch it anymore. But for me, I'll go to the cinematographer route. So I mean, any good cinematographer is going to say Deakins, because I mean, like Roger Deakins,
no doubt,
is amazing. I mean, you look at all his breadth of work, and I mean, it's so vastly different. But when you see it, you go, oh, that's Deakins. And so, like for me, when I watch movies like him that he's done, I'm just like, man, I really wish I could go back. Or I wish people go back and they look at my stuff and they're like, oh, this is Kyle. Like this is so I guess that's like where I strive. Like this is really good. And it's like, oh, Kyle shot this. You know, like that'd be really great. So
favorite Roger Deakins movie? It's hard to pick.
Yeah.
Based on what?
Just based on just not on the movie, not on like the quality of the story or the acting or any of those things, but just on the work that Deakins did as a cinematographer. What's your favorite work of his?
It'd be a toss up between Skyfall and the new Blade Runner. Skyfall and the new Blade Runner. There's some which are two very different looking films at the same time.
Absolutely.
I mean, we haven't really talked creatively on. It's really funny to think about where I am now and where I was when I shot The Shift, because we haven't talked creatively, but like I'd love to do stuff that they did in Blade Runner for The Shift, and like there's things in Skyfall that they did I'd love to do. Like
that gets me excited.
It really does. I don't know if I have budgets for those things.
Well, we can try.
We'll find out. The more money we get, the better it's going to look. That's just all I gotta say.
That's for dang sure.
But yeah, I mean, I actually, this is heresy, I know. I have not seen 1917. I've seen a whole bunch of BTS and how they shot 1917.
You know, I haven't seen it either.
Oh, guys.
No, I know it's heresy. It's absolutely heresy.
No, it's terrible.
It's brilliant.
Oh, I know. I've read all up on how they did all this. I actually could probably tell you the entire movie just from the BTS and behind the scenes and all the camera work.
But at the same time, I'll be honest. But at the same time, it's really, for me, it was very uneasy. It's very unnerving because I feel like the shot is going too long. Cut. You know, but you know, it's weird. It's definitely an experience, though.
Last time, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so let's follow up on what you're just talking about there. Like, for you guys, for both of you, and maybe I need to answer this one too, so that it's not just me putting you on the spot. But when you think ahead to making the shift, and Kyle, I know you haven't quite read the script yet, so you don't. I've told you a little bit though.
Did you send it to me yet?
No, I haven't even sent it to you yet.
So that's last time we got together, you said you were gonna send it to me, and I was like thinking about it, like, oh no, did I not read it?
No, I just haven't sent it to you. So that's my bad. I need to do that. Remind me after I'll do that after this. I'll send it to you. Kyle gets to read the script, everybody. Who's jealous of Kyle? So when you're thinking about, thinking ahead, even though you haven't read it, like, what are you going to do to make the shift great? Like, it's a terrible question, but like, what are you going to do to make sure that like this is as good as it can be given the resources that we have? I mean, you already talked about Skyfall and Blade Runner and trying to do some stuff there, but just in the overall.
Making sure we have the right crew for the kind of, so like, this is not a creative thing. This is just more of a set flow thing. Like, part of being a DP is management, and it's about having the right kind of crew so that we have the right kind of vibe on set, because the vibe you have on set actually translates into your film. And so I think that's one thing that I've definitely learned over the years, that like, it's amazing how having a good crew and good people and not having someone who's cancerous on set really like makes a big difference and an impact on your film. I think as far as the creative side goes, like, just with the technology that exists now, with new lighting techniques and equipment that exists, like, I think we can do some really cool stuff. I have lots of ideas. I haven't read the script, So I have lots of ideas of what we could do, but I know that we got to do with another short film that you and I worked on since,
Mm-hmm.
where we did a lot more lighting setups and we did a lot more creative stuff. Like we did a lot more color. We used a
Mm-hmm.
lot more color to our advantage, and I think there's something interesting in the shift on really trying to pull out some good moods due to like
Mm-hmm.
with color and things like that. So
I
those are
agree.
things I want to dive into, and I know you like color and I like color,
I
and
do.
um,
I want to be bold.
it's funny because you kept saying you wanted me to do black and white.
I know it's true,
I
but
didn't
then
want
when
to
I
do
go,
it.
look,
I didn't
whatever
want
I'm
to do
going to
it.
go in on, I'm going to go in completely. So if we're going to use color, let's use color, you
Oh
know.
man.
But we did. I mean, we made some dramatic choices just even in the short, making things really, really red towards the end, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you actually go back to the original footage of that diner, it's a lot of green. It was like a very uh,
Environment, yeah.
green environment, and we sucked all the green out just about, and so that it's
Yeah.
mostly red now. So
Yeah.
stuff
There
like
was a
that.
lot of
But I have seen the work you have done since then. Obviously, some of that was done on the short film that we did together. I made another short film after the shift, wrote and directed it, the same thing, and it was very, very different in look, and mostly because Kyle had just learned that much more since the last time we had worked together.
Yeah, and we got more time. I mean,
Yeah, and we had more time.
we had more
Yeah,
time. We were able to take our time with it a little bit more. There was not $0 budget. It was like we had a little
that
bit of a
also
budget.
helped.
That helps a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we had a bigger crew. I mean, lots of things contributed
Mm-hmm.
to that. Obviously, yeah, skill, yes, hands down
Yeah.
from 2015. I think we shoot that 2018 or 2017.
17 is when we shot
17.
Yeah, I
the
mean, I would say
205th is what it was called.
2005 was a 2014 to 2015 winter break was when we shot the shift, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then from that to the was it October, November of 2017 in that range when we shot
Yeah, so it was about a year and a half,
205?
almost 2 years after.
Yeah. I mean, just that there's a huge jump. And if I could
Yeah.
go back and look at the 205, I don't know if you gave out the name, but
It's called the 205th. We always call it
I know
205 internally.
205 because that's just it's
It's easier.
Yeah. And I always look at that and I still would like, oh man, I wish I could do this differently, or I would have done that better, or
Yeah.
you know what, we could have been way more. Honestly, like it's also efficiency too. Like I look at things and I'm like, man, I could light that with 3 lights now instead of like the 9 that I had, like.
But
Well, and
it,
efficiency is going to be so important for us, on it.
yeah,
You're going to see the script and you're going to be like, oh crud.
yeah.
There's
heavy.
there's a lot. There's a lot, and it's all can be done in Fresno, but there's a lot, and we're going to have to be very efficient to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I'm scaring you now, but
No.
so Orlando, same
Problem
question.
solving.
Like on your end, from a producer's perspective, how can you make the shift great?
I can't. I don't even
can't.
know why I'm here. No. No, actually, honestly though, we were talking about this the other day, and it's kind of giving you my my disposition on kind of what I'm hoping to accomplish with it, and it stems from having been in your shoes, right? Have
Mm-hmm.
also doing directorial work, and the biggest thing that I always struggled with was having a solid producer who could buffer me from the business and the logistics of production, so I can focus on creative. And so that's one thing we were talking about. Is like, if I could do one thing and one thing well, is to do that for you, is to keep your head strictly in the space of focus on the creative, focus on the storytelling, focus on working with your actors, working with Kyle and your DP. Like that should be where your head is the whole time. It shouldn't be, when where are we getting lunch from? Where does C stands go? Where does this go? Who's all that logistical stuff. There needs to be something to kind of buffer that, to keep that from getting into your space. And if I can do that, then I think it's obviously going to free you up to put your mental faculties strictly in the creative, and that's just going to make the project that much better.
Yeah, well, and that dovetails perfectly with what I feel like I need to do, in order to level up. And everything that I've done so far, I have played, multiple roles, put on a lot of hats, and I'm very much looking forward on this film to removing one of those hats, and that is the producer hat, so that I can really drill down on not that I
Teresa
won't
likes
be.
my hat.
Oh
What?
yeah.
We're talking about hats. Teresa likes my hat.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You got some love
someone.
for a hat. I'm glad for you. I'm happy for you. You got one person.
You got two.
No.
I'm on board.
All right, thank you.
Oh, we had a little bit of a preview there. No, you're good. So my thing is that I want to just really be focused in on creative as much as I can, and because when you're on a set, when you're making a movie, there are a million different decisions to make, and the less I have to make, the less, especially with the business side of things that I have to make, the better off the film is going to be, because then I'm thinking about performance, then I'm thinking about where the camera is, then I'm thinking about the storytelling, and the more I'm thinking about that, the better off the film is going to be. So that's the new era that I'm hoping to, in my own personal filmmaking journey. That's what I'm hoping to do as we go into this feature film, is really just changing up and being more, all of us just being more efficient, which I think is really what all of us are kind of saying when you think about it and what it comes down to.
That's true. That's true.
But okay, well, cool. Well, guys, I really appreciate you joining us tonight. I feel like we could keep going. I have a list here. I think we only got like half the list that I was hoping to get into, and so hopefully we'll get another chance to do this. Even past the campaign that we're doing right now, we still are going to be interested in keeping engaged with all of you. And having you guys back on to talk about things. We're going to be doing BTS, and even BTS of things like location scouting. I could see us doing that, and showing off our first meeting as we get together and figure out the logistics and stuff like that. So you're going to be seeing a lot of these guys, of Orlando and of Kyle. Get used to these faces. Guys, maybe you can make them a little bit prettier for us next time, because we're going to be seeing a lot of you. No, you're fine. You guys look great. So just thank you, both of you, for being with us tonight. I really appreciate it. Any final thoughts, final words, final sign off?
I'm excited to do this project. I've always felt called to do some cool Christian films, and so this wasn't the one that I thought I would do one day, but it's definitely a cool one, and I'm excited about it. And there's a lot of good stories that I think that exist and that we need to bring to Christian media. So
I agree 100%. That I've had a similar experience. I always felt like I hope that there'd be opportunity for me to do something that I enjoy in the Christian film world. I never really wanted to tackle it myself because I didn't see this kind of film anywhere, and this is the kind of film that I would want to be a part of. So now that you're doing it, I'm glad to be a part. And I don't know. I think part of my personal goal is that people can walk away and say that this is one of their favorite films, period. Not one of their favorite Christian films, just one of their favorite films. I think that would be immensely rewarding.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Goal. That's a good goal. And that is, I believe, the kind of film that we're making. This is going to be a film that's just a good movie, and you don't have to qualify it in any way. It just happens to also involve faith, and in a very real and honest way. That is certainly my aspiration, and I'm very excited to do this with you guys. I really am. I think we've got a great team, and of course we're adding to our team. We got to get you guys and talking to Dallas and getting his his input on what we're doing, and Dan and Matt, of course, doing the music. I just think we've got the people. We'll get the actors. We just got to get that budget. That's it. That's it. That's all we're missing. That's the missing ingredient. So anyways, thank you guys for your time. We got something came in. Our moderator just freaked out. Whoa. We just got a $5,000 investment.
Oh, wow.
That just happened.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I think more info's coming your goal, in here. Right?
That destroys our goal for tonight. Yeah. If that he's still texting me here. I don't have all the info. I don't even know who that is yet, but apparently it just happened.
Wow.
So whatever you guys said tonight, we need to have you back and say it again. Because it was effective. Next week we're going to be doing some marathon streams. So I may have you back next week at some point, just so it's not me talking the whole time. So be prepared for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yes, let's do it.
So while we're waiting on that info, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to you guys. Feel free to keep with us in the chat and yeah, we'll be talking to you again soon for sure. And Kyle, look for that script. I will send it to you tonight. I promise.
Sounds good.
I'll make sure he sends it to you.
Thanks. Good producer. Good producer.
There you go. There you go. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Later.
See ya.
Bye. All right. That was Kyle Gentz, our director of photography, and Orlando J. Gomez, our producer for the Shift feature film. Very glad that those guys came along, and it was a good conversation. Always good to get together with friends, and I think that's the discussion we haven't really had so far on one of these live streams. Is just let's peek behind the curtain. I'm waiting for info. I'm like vamping here. I'm waiting for info from our moderator, trying to figure out who this $5,000 investment is. I want to thank them if I can. But while that's coming in, I will say that we did have a goal for tonight, and to hit $2,000. We have now obliterated that goal. So who knows what could possibly happen tonight. And I just got the info. It was from Linda in Florida. She is an existing investor, and she just partnered with us for $5,000 more on top of her previous investment. I don't know how much the previous one was, but Linda, my goodness, thank you. Thank you so much. That is an incredible amount to add to whatever it was that you invested before. We are so appreciative of that. This film's going to be made one way or the other. There's just too many good people on it. There's too many of you that are excited about it and that are helping us push this ball forward, and we're just so grateful. And speaking of you and speaking of fans, it's time to watch this video. I love this video. I feel like I barely had anything to do with it. I slapped it together, but it was you, the fans, that brought this video together. And it's just you speaking from your heart and telling us what you believe is important about the Shift. And if you haven't seen it, you need to keep watching right now. This is pretty cool. Check this out.
The Shift film is masterful.
The Shift is thought-provoking and wonderfully hypnotic, yet strangely eerie, all at the same time.
And I insisted my husband and kids sit down and watch it with me, and we've watched it 100 times since then.
Awesome. And each time I see it, I am struck with a new truth.
The Shift has provided a visualization of the battle that we as believers fight in the spirit realm.
I've never hurt anybody my whole life.
No, but you have such potential. You're a halfway decent guy. It's the other half I'm particularly fond of, and it takes over in the end.
The concept of The Shift grabbed my attention immediately. It's a story about someone that's just like you and me, who is struggling to do their best and to make the right choices in a world that is often overwhelming.
I love The Shift, and I'm not even a big sci-fi fan.
The sci-fi nerd of me loves how Brock Heasley and the team has melded together elements of The Twilight Zone, Twin Peaks, and M. Night Shyamalan, and has married that with a faith-based film. That has never been done.
We've just never had to prove it this far.
Who's we?
Me and you. Kevin, this isn't the first time we've done all this.
One of the most forward-looking, possibility-expanding new films that just can't go unnoticed.
As somebody that is very interested in sci-fi and fantasy, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Let me give you everything you ever wanted. Just say the word.
When Kevin came to the end of himself, when he was broken and when he was humble, and he knew the only thing he had left was to cry out to his Creator, and he said that prayer, that is when Satan had to flee.
The enemy is causing so much confusion and chaos in the world right now. And it's his goal to convince us that God's doing that instead of him.
In that moment, in the darkness, that is where we can meet God, and that his love will shine through so brilliantly.
And at the same time, the Shift doesn't make it all about the darkness. The film takes off the blinders, and it has the power to help us realize that our Father God's perfect love would never, never, never cause the pain that we're feeling in our lives, and he will never abandon us.
So many can't receive that truth through teaching or preaching, but my hope is that through the masterful storytelling, the beautiful truth-telling, people will see that when we're in the middle of pain, despair is not the only answer, but hope, real hope.
I cannot wait to see how God is going to speak and move in the hearts of both those who believe and those who don't yet.
And to me, that's what makes The Shift so powerful.
The Shift short film is so powerful.
Very powerful message of positivity.
It is not an accident that this film is coming out now. Never have we needed it like we need it now.
This is a film that begs for conversation and introspection, and I really feel like it's a film that I have personally waited for a long time.
Hi, this is Greg. I had a role in the short film The Shift as Tina's father, and now I'm an investor because I want to see what happens next to Kevin in a feature film.
I could not be more excited about jumping on board as both an investor and someone to just help spread the word about what an incredible movie this is.
I truly believe that this is one of those feature films that will help usher in a whole new generation of faith-based cinema.
And that's why I feel The Shift has to be made.
It has to be made.
And I can't wait to see how impactful and powerful it's going to be up on the big screen.
I really believe in the message and the power that lies in this film.
And I just can't wait to see what happens.
Hey, this is Brock. I hope you'll partner with us by backing the project at studios.vidangel.com/theshift. We only have until September 30th to get our full funding, and we can't do it without you. All right. Man, I gotta tell you, I really love that. There's something special to think that anything that I've created could inspire, thoughts like that, or and words like that. Just beautiful what you guys did and what you've said about the film. And of course, I say I created it, and I increasingly, as time goes on, more and more feel like I have a lot less to do with this film than maybe I think. It's something I try to do. Everything I do, everything I create, every story I tell, I try to do under inspiration. Try to do something that puts some good out into the world. And the fact that The Shift is so well received by you tells me that I did put something good out into the world, or at least I had a hand in that. And that feels good. That makes me feel good. I hope that's not vanity. I hope that's not vain. It feels good to have something go out in the world and then have people respond in that way. And that they ultimately are not seeing my light at all, are you? You're not seeing my light. You're seeing somebody else's light, the light that we are supposed to show before everyone. We have 6 days until we reach our end of the offering, in which we will no longer be accepting investments. What happens after that? Will there be another offering? Will we have another chance to invest? I honestly don't know what's going to happen at this point. We have been building and building towards this day, and it's a very important day. Tonight we had a goal of $2,000, and that's not the right thing. And this is what we actually hit. This is what we have done. This is where we started the night. Let's see where we are now. We are now at $117,000. I always say this wrong. $117,933. That's where we're at right now, thanks to Linda, who came in, one of our previous investors, and added to her investment another $5,000. It's an incredible thing to see that, and we are grateful. If anybody else would like to join us tonight and partner with us in making this film happen, we would
Hey there,
love
I'm
to
Dallas
shout
Jenkins.
you out. Dallas, hold
film
on, it's
is-
not time for you yet. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. It would not be a shift stream if I was not hitting the wrong buttons. It's just what happens. Anybody who's got any questions for me, any last minute questions? I know there's some questions that I missed. Diana, I don't know if you're still watching. This question came in very early on in the stream when I was talking to Kyle in Orlando, and I didn't get a chance to answer you, but I will answer you now. And the question Diana had was, what happened to Tina the waitress? And she's, of course, talking about Tina and the fact that she was shifted away. And Satan tells Kevin, Tina was shifted to a world where there is no Tina, where her parents never met and fell in love, and where she will likely go insane because she's in such an unfamiliar environment, and we can expect that she will probably find her way into an asylum or some type of situation like that. So things are not well for Tina. And that's obviously a huge problem. And it's something that I think is fair to say that weighs on Kevin's mind as he walks out the door. It's probably the only thing he's thinking about as he walks out the door is, what in the world did I do? He didn't know he was necessarily condemning Tina in that way when he said shift her, but that's certainly what happened. And so one of the things a feature film is going to deal with Kevin's guilt over that. And deal with the idea of, okay, is that a mistake that can be rectified? When we make mistakes in our lives, when we sin, there's always the opportunity to repent and to make it better, to take that to God and to try to fix what we've done wrong. In a situation like Kevin's, where we're talking about multiple realities, this crazy sci-fi thing, and Kevin has no power to reach Tina, so how can that mistake be fixed? That's something that we're going to be dealing with in the feature film. That guilt and the possibility, if there is any, of actually fixing it. So I'm very much looking forward to telling the rest of the story. I mean, there's so much to tell. There's also Kevin and Molly. Can Kevin get back to Molly? And how can we mix up all these things and tell this story, and what does it all mean? I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you right now everything. I mean, there's a part of me that just wants to sit here for the next 2 hours and just tell you the whole film back to front. And there's probably a part of you that would enjoy that too, but it would absolutely ruin the experience of watching this film, and we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is try to get as much money as we can between now and the 30th, hopefully all the way to the million. I believe that can happen if that's the Lord's will, if that's what this project is supposed to do right now. But I know that every single dollar that you put in right now is so important, and it helps us get to that place that we need to be in order to make this. So we're very grateful to you. If you can't invest, just as a reminder, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share the Shift Film YouTube link with your friends. Share the Shift Film page with your friends on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. Comment, engage. Every time you engage with one of our posts, it tells Facebook, oh, we need to put this in front of more people. And so our posts that we make get out in front of more and more people. If you're seeing our posts go by and you're just like, another Shift post, I don't want to like that. Please like it anyway. Comment anyway. If you believe in this film, those are the things that really help us. And the more that we're in front of people, the more they think to themselves, oh yeah, I do need to invest in that film. I do want to do that. The thing that I hate is the thought that on Thursday, after our offering is closed, that somebody's going to come to me and say, wait a minute, I wanted to invest. It's already over. And it's because they didn't see anything. They didn't see that last reminder that they needed to make that leap. So the liking, the commenting, everything you're doing that is supporting our efforts is very valuable. Even if you've already invested, even if you can't invest, those efforts are so important because it's going to help us reach somebody else who can or who hasn't yet. And also a reminder, small investments help a ton. If you're thinking $100, who cares? If 100 of you did $100, that's a lot of money. That would help out tremendously. That'd be $100,000, and we'd be doubling what we currently have right now, just like that. So don't ever think that those aren't valuable. I want to play one more video for you. This is a video that I love. This is Dallas Jenkins, the creator of The Chosen, talking about the shift and why it's important enough that he jumped on board as the executive producer. And once Dallas is done, stick around for a second. I'm going to tell you what's coming up next week. I'm going to finally reveal what is in store for our live streams for next week. Next week is a very important week for us. So I'm going to hit you with that in just a minute.
Hey there, I'm Dallas Jenkins. I'm the creator of The Chosen, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of why I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift. I remember when I first saw the short film, The Shift, it was probably a couple years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't know who this person is who made this, and I had heard that they did it for no money, but I'm really impressed, and I believe that this guy has a future. And I wanted to see more. I wanted to see where The Shift, what Brock could do with an actual budget. So The Shift now has a relatively small budget. They're really keeping the budget low, and that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is help them maximize the budget that they do have and making sure that every penny that we spend is spent in the best and most efficient way possible, which is one of the things that I hope, if you've seen The Chosen, you've realized we did there too, was we didn't have Hollywood money, but we had enough to make something special. And I think that's what Brock has now. I think he's going to get, and I hope you can help him get enough to make something special. And I think the message of the shift and the future of the shift is so important. And almost as important as any of that is Brock Heasley. He didn't ask me to say this, I promise. But I can tell you, I've seen his work on a writing side, I've seen it on the directing side. And in my 20 years in the business, there are very few people who I've thought, I want to pour into this person because I think that this person has the chance to be an impactful and disruptive and important storyteller in this business. And that is Brock. Brock is someone who, when I read what he's writing, I'm connected to it. And I want to see more. And I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level. And if you've seen The Chosen, maybe that's what you've appreciated about it as well, is that it's not just pure emotion. It's emotion that has some thought behind it, but it's also not pure intellect. It's intellect that has some heart behind it. And all of that is, there's kind of an umbrella over all of it of a spiritual importance. Something is being said about our universe and who created it.
Nothing. That I may be worthy tomorrow.
I am greater than God.
Jesus
Christ.
And that's what The Shift is about. That's what The Chosen is about. It's one of the reasons why I've signed on board, and I hope you can get involved as well to be part of the beginning of what I believe is an important project and who I believe is an important filmmaker.
Hey, this is Brock. I hope you'll partner with us by backing the project at studios.vidangel.com/theshift. We only have until September 30th to get our full funding, and we can't do it without you. So I know our moderator told you all to not remind me to turn on my mic, but I remembered this time, and so you did not get me. Not to say that I haven't made my mistakes tonight, but I did remember to do it this time. I'm sure I'll forget again, and you'll have another opportunity to make fun of me. Don't worry about it. Kara wrote a great comment, and well, it's a comment that makes me blush a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and read it because it's very kind, and I love Kara, and I'm so appreciative of her words, and she has such a beautiful way of saying things. She said, "You have put something so good into this world, and you were certainly chosen to make this film. That is what we see, him using you. We know he has crafted you specifically for this story. Yet we all love and admire you, Brock. Your heart for this project, your heart for him, your God-given talent, and your willingness to put all your loaves and fish and time and passion into this, to make this film for us. That is what we see and why we are here with you." Really appreciate that. That makes me choke up a little bit. Thank you, Kara. I'm very much looking forward to next week. I don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to reach 200K by the end of Sunday? I don't know. I mean, we got a heck of a lot closer to it tonight than I thought we would, thanks to Linda. And but next week we have some really special stuff planned. Monday we're going to have Dan Hasseltine and Matt Nelson, the co-composers of The Chosen and the co-composers of what will be the Shift feature film. They are going to be joining me. We're going to talk to them. We got to talk to them once already with our big fan Zoom room, but this time we're going to just me, Matt, and Dan. And Dan, of course, performed an incredible song by Jars of Clay called "Oh My God." He performed it in our previous live stream on Monday. It was a performance that it was mind-blowing to me. It was incredible. And Dan was not happy with it. Dan felt like he could do better. And so he is actually going to re-record that song for us as a piano solo, piano and vocal solo. And I'm going to be debuting that on Monday. At least that's what I hope to do. Dan's a perfectionist, and it's probably one of the reasons why his music is so fantastic. But we're going to see them. We're going to be able to hear that, which I'm very, very excited about. I don't know how he could improve on it, but he's convinced that he can, and so we'll be sharing that with you. We are also going to be sharing with you a table read video. We have done one table read, and I almost showed it at the beginning of this, but we got all of our tech issues worked out. But I'll probably repeat that next week. But also we're going to show you another scene. I got some actors. Greg came back as Kevin, and another actor friend of mine came in who you will meet on Monday, and they performed a scene from the Shift feature film. Never before you've heard it. And it is actually a scene that happens after Kevin walks out the door. So you're going to get your first hints of what life is like for Kevin after he walks out the diner. That's going to be pretty exciting. That's happening Monday. On Tuesday, we're going to welcome two very special guests. Number one, we're welcoming Neil Harmon, the CEO of VidAngel. And of course, VidAngel is the company that is making all of this possible. That VidAngel Studios is the company that brought you The Chosen. VidAngel Studios is the company that brought you The Shift. And Neil Harmon is the CEO, and he was the person that I talked to way back when we started all of this, and he said, "Do you have more?" That was his question to me when he saw the Shift short film. Do you have more? And so here we are. And here we are with a full feature film ready to go. We just need a budget. So Neil's going to talk to us about why he feels the shift is important and what attracted him to it and what he hopes to see happen with it. Very excited to talk to Neil. He's a busy guy, so it's especially fortunate that we're going to have him. Another special guest that we're going to have on Tuesday after Neil, we're going to talk to Leonardo Torres. And Leonardo, of course, he's got a fantastic channel on YouTube in which he reviews things as a non-Christian. He's a believer. He's not quite sure in what, if I'm understanding correctly. And Leonardo can set me straight on this on Tuesday. But he has a non-Christian reviews things like The Chosen and things like The Shift and Christian music. And so he's going to come on and talk to us about, his reaction to The Shift, which we all saw live on his YouTube channel, and talk to us about, what it means to him as somebody who, just doesn't have a faith in Christ yet. I say yet, maybe he never will. I don't know. We don't judge. But I look forward to hearing what he has to say. And then on Wednesday, my very, very special guest, and this is going to be a marathon. It's going to be our final day. It's going to be a very long live stream. We're looking at starting up at 4 p.m. my time, going all the way till 9 p.m. my time, which would be midnight Eastern. Teresa, I'll get back to that in a second. We are looking at doing a marathon 5-hour live stream. We'll see if that's a good idea, maybe a terrible idea. But within that, Dallas Jenkins, the creator of The Chosen, executive producer of The Shift, is going to be joining me live. And we're going to talk about The Shift, and we're going to talk about, I don't know what we're going to talk about yet. We'll figure that out. But Dallas is going to be joining us. I'm very much looking forward to talking with him. And I'll tell you this, I've actually only talked to Dallas once in my life. We text a lot, but I've only ever actually talked to him once. And so this will be my second time talking to him, and it'll be in front of all of you. So that'll be really fun. Let's see. We just had something happen. What happened? Oh, first of all, Teresa is asking what time on Monday. Good question, Teresa. Monday is going to be at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Tuesday is going to be 5:30 p.m. Pacific. And then Wednesday is going to be at 4 p.m. Pacific is when we're going to start. I think Dallas is going to come on around 5. So that's what we can expect for that. Jenna in North Carolina just chipped in another $150 to bring us to an even $118,000. Thank you so much, Jenna. If that's the Jenna that I think it is, thank you so much, Jenna. It's amazing. Brought us to an even 15, but then it kept going. Paula Sue from Texas just parted with us for $500. Thank you so much, Paula Sue. And between Jenna and Paula Sue, we are now up to $118,583. We have seriously destroyed any and all goals we had for this stream. I'm incredibly humbled and incredibly impressed by you and your support. I'm so excited to go into next week with you. I hope you'll join us. It's going to be a lot. Join us when you can. I think it's going to be really exciting. I'm so excited to hear what all of our guests are going to have to say. I think it's going to be a really fun time. So thank you again for tonight. Thank you for being here with us. We are not done. We are far from done, even though we have a very short amount of time. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. That video you just watched of all the fan reactions, that is up on our page right now. If you haven't already, go comment, go share. Let's get that out there. I feel like it's going to hit people in a different way that maybe some of our other videos haven't. Next week, table read, guess, all kinds of crazy things. Maybe I'll even have time to do another video. I have another video I've been spooling in my head called Top 10 Reasons Not to Invest in the Shift. That's right. Top 10 Reasons Not to Invest in the Shift. It's going to be a weird video. I'm thinking of doing it. We'll see. I just got a note that there's another investor. I keep trying to sign off, and you guys are investing right now, and it's happening. And I'm not going to sign off until we read them all off. Okay, what is it? What's happening? And if you're wondering, how am I going to make a video out of top 10 reasons not to invest in the shift? You'll see. It'll make sense when you see it. We are not trying to encourage people not to invest, but there are legitimate reasons not to invest. We're going to talk about those. Jerry from Arizona just partnered with us for $100. Thank you so much, Jerry. Catching the spirit of every dollar counts. Every dollar counts. So appreciate you, Jerry. Thank you, everyone who partnered with us tonight or who came in with additional investments. Your passion for this film is inspiring to me. It really genuinely is. When I wake up every morning, I think about my responsibility to you, to our partners, to the people that believe in this film. And there's more of us every single day. And I cannot help but be grateful for that. Thank you again, and I will see you again very, very soon. Monday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. I'll see you then.